Y'all ready to talk about Game 6? What can we say about Game 6? I mean, I was so amped about Game 6 last night that I went from watching it to calling one of my boys about it to jumping on a podcast to talk about it. And I'm still in awe of how great that game was. And in saying that, I just got to say a couple things. What can you say about that game? I mean, that people aren't already saying right now. Do we applaud the fact that Chris Bosh made two incredible defensive plays in overtime that turned the course of that game with blocking Tony Parker after Parker shook him and then blocking Danny Green's final shot? And speaking of Parker, do we applaud the fact that he put that team on his back in the final minutes of the fourth quarter to give his team a chance to win? Do we applaud Tim Duncan for having a vintage performance yesterday for three quarters, scoring wise, and then not scoring at all in the fourth and overtime? Do we appreciate the fact that we just saw that and wonder if we can see that again from him in Game 7? Do we applaud the fact that LeBron James had the opposite? A quiet three quarters, and then all of a sudden explodes to help lead Miami back in the fourth and overtime. And he has his second triple-double these finals. Do we applaud the fact that Kawhi Leonard, after missing that free throw that could have won the game, came right back in overtime and scored that bucket? And he had a great game for a 21-year-old in the second season. I mean, let's not forget the fact that Kawhi was at San Diego State 2 years ago. The fact that he is growing up in front of our eyes, he's making mistakes, but at the same time he's learning how to just keep going with that. He's always done that, but he's doing it on the biggest level. Do we credit Greg Popovich for reminding us why, even though you can say he made a mistake not having Duncan in on that final Heat possession, or maybe saying Tony Parker, do we credit him for being perfectly in control and not even worrying about it? Because we know that if anybody can adjust from that, it's him. But do we give Eric Spoelstra a lot of credit for the one adjustment he needed to make, I think, was making sure Danny Green didn't beat them. And he put Shane Battier leading the clamp down on Danny Green. And Shane Battier actually outscored Danny Green, but Danny Green only hit one three-pointer and was a non-factor. Do we give credit also to the Heat for finding a way to make Manu Ginobili look just awful? I mean, Manu was aggressive when he needed to be, but he was awful. He played an awful game. 8 turnovers. A part of that's him, a part of it's also the Heat. Do we give Ray Allen a ton of credit? The guy who quietly has been the best bench player for the Heat this finals. Do we give him credit for that great three hit and for his defense? I mean, you can say whatever you want about Manu Ginobili, and if he was fouled, Ray made a great defensive play to strip that ball from him. And Manu possibly traveled on the way to the basket. Manu did. But Ray Allen made plays on both sides of the ball. Do we just sit back as Hoops fans and just say, we just watched one of the best games of the season? And for all the analysis, for all the talk we're going to have about this game, for all the talk about legacy and dynasty and all this stuff that really doesn't matter anymore, can we just sit back and just say, dang, we just saw an incredible Game 6. We just saw players step up on both sides, both teams, make huge plays in this game that showed why they're the best of the best. And think about this. We get to do it again on Thursday. Game 7. I can't wait. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. So in all the chatter and all the noise, let's just sit back and appreciate what we just saw last night. Because guess what? Come Thursday, the NBA season is going to be over. And I hope that we get to see another great game from both these teams to close it out. Peace.